We did number 1, we did number 2. Number 5, Mark Twain was growing up in a small town in Mississippi, had grown up in a small town in Mississippi, grew up in a small town in Mississippi, has grown up in a small town in Mississippi, which is the correct answer.
Was grow up was growing up.
هلا قيسوها بالعربي. مارك توين كانوا يكبر في مدينة صغيرة في ولاية ميسيسيبي. You would say Mark Twain grew up in a small town in Mississippi. When my parents will arrive tomorrow, they will see our new baby for the first time. When my parents arrive tomorrow, they will see our new baby for the first time. When my parents will have arrived tomorrow. When my parents arrived tomorrow.
Will arrive.
Does anyone have an answer?
ولا will have arrived. He will. لأنه بكرة.
I'm sorry في حد بيحكي بس الصوت مش واضح. مين اللي جاوب هلا؟
بس هيك سمعني ولا الصوت لسه مش واضح؟
خلود, I believe there's something wrong with your microphone.
اوكي هلا بحاول اظبطه. اوكي
هيك شوي أفضل. ممكن كنتي مجرد حاطة إيدك عليه. So my parents listen, they have not arrived. We can't say will have arrived. Or you could, but not in this context. فبنشطب هذا. We can't say arrived. بصفي بين when my parents will arrive tomorrow. As we already said, when. فهذا أخذ لنا مكان will بالاعتبار. So it is arrive. When my parents arrive tomorrow, they will see our new baby for the first time. Until you learn how to take a break, you haven't improved your ability to speak English. You aren't improving your ability to speak English. You don't improve your ability to speak English. Or you won't improve your ability to speak English. نركز إنه هون نوعا ما أنا أعطي نصيحة. Do we have an answer?
You aren't improving.
Since it is advice وهلا برضه هذا اللكشر رح ناخذ modal verbs على الأغلب. رح تصير برضه أوضح وأوضح. Won't improve. My grandfather never flies in an airplane before, so this is his first time. My grandfather had never flown in an airplane before, so this is his first time. My grandfather has never flown in an airplane before, so this is his first time. My grandfather never flew in an airplane before, so this is his first time.
Has never flown.
Has never flown, correct. I have been living in this city since I was a small child. I am living in this city since I was a small child. I had been living in this city since I was a small child. I lived in this city since I was a small child.
I lived.
I
I
lived
have been
where?
living.
I have been living هو الأصح. هلا I lived
مم.
يعني ايش بدكم تقولوا زي انه كنت ساكن وبطلت.
مم.
مثلا انا جاي
لأنه أظن
I'm sorry.
بجوز sense هي اللي بتساعدنا يعني إنه have been living.
هلا I have been living اشي باستمرار، انا بعدني هيني ساكنة هون. هلا I lived كنت عايشة وبطلت عايشة هون، خلصنا. عرفتوا الفرق بين الاثنين؟ هلا اثنيناتهم صح ينحطوا بالجملة، بس المعاني بختلف شوية. ممكن لو أنا 10 سنين لقدام بدي أودي ولادي على المنطقة اللي كنت ساكنة فيها أو المدينة اللي تربيت فيه، بس نمرة قولهم I lived in this city since I was a small child or I lived in this city when I was a small child. بس أزبط وأزبط. بس إيش إذا أنا أصلا ساكنة حدا جاي على حارتي بيسألني على المنطقة، ممكن أجي أقول لكم I have been living in this city since I was a small child، من وأنا طفلة صغيرة ساكنة هون. While I watched TV last night, a small mouse ran across the room. While I have watched TV last night, while I watched, while I was watching.
Was watching.
Very good. While I was watching TV last night, a small mouse ran across the room. Jane isn't here yet. I have waited since noon, but there's no sign of her. I am writing, مفروض waiting, I am waiting since noon. I wait since noon. I have been waiting since noon. نركز إنه الإشي بعده مستمر، أنا لسه عم بستنى ما خلصت.
I
I am
have
waiting
been.
ولا have been waiting.
I have been waiting.
بس أشرين على الإجابة الصحيحة.
Was watching. قلنا إيش على the city.
Have been living.
You have been وبظبط lived.
Lived.
It's two different meanings. So, by the time by the time my brother finally graduated from high school, he attended 7 different schools. He was attending 7 different schools. He had attended 7 different schools, or he had been attending 7 different schools.
Had attended.
Very good. Had attended. He
يعني
attended
مخلص يعني مش
وخلص.
مستمر.
أيوة. هلا ليش ما بزبط مثلا was attending؟ تخيلوا was attending 7 different schools، يعني احنا قصدنا هو عم بيروح أكثر من مدرسة بنفس الوقت، مش ظابطة. had been attending نفس الإشي. On June 20th, I returned home. I was away for almost 2 years. I have been away for almost 2 years. I am away for almost 2 years. I had been away for almost 2 years.
يا الأولى يا الأخيرة.
Okay. هلا honestly both
نقي لك
work.
واحدة.
صراحة اتنيناتهم ظابطين. I was away
مم.
for almost 2 years. You can also say I had been away for almost 2 years. Yeah, let's scroll down. Number 14, when I got to the party, many people were already dancing, already danced, had already danced, have already danced.
have already danced.
لا
هلا
هاد
أنا وصلت البارتي لسه بعزها. هلا الناس رقصوا وخلصوا لأنا داخلة وهم شو بيعملوا؟
وهم بيرقصوا
عم
لسه
برقصوا.
كمان.
يعني إيش؟
we're already dancing.
أيوة بدنا ing هون.
dancing أيوه.
مم. مم.
Before I started the car, all of the passengers will buckle their seatbelts, will have buckled their seatbelts, had buckled their seatbelts, or buckle their seatbelts. Buckle your seatbelt إنه when you buckle a seatbelt تلبسه للحزام الأمان.
هاد buckled.
أيوة very good had buckled.
بس والله على الإحساس، والله ولا قاعدة عارفة،
طب
بس هيك
والله العظيم إنه حتى النيتيف سبيكرز بيمشوا على الإحساس.
يعني مش شطارة كتير، بس هي هيك إجت.
ترى كيف ما يزبط معكم إذا أنتم بتحبوا تمسكوها زي معادلة الرياضيات إنه subject verb هيك بزبط معكم هيك بزبط معكم هيك. إذا أنتم يعني قادرين إنه بس مجرد إنه والله أنا بعرف إيش صح إيش غلط، مش ضروري تقدروا تفهموني ليش صح وغلط، بس بتعرفوا إيش صح إيش غلط لسه أحسن وأحسن. By the way هذا يدل على إمكانية أكتر باللغة. When you can do something without thinking about it من دون ما تفكروا فيه كتير، يعني إيش؟ يعني أنتوا فاهمين بالمعنى. عارفين إيش الصح
هي
إيش
هيك يعني
غلط.
من السياق بالعربي.
أيوه. Right now we have a heat wave. It's been so hot for almost a week. We have had a heat wave. It's been so hot for almost a week. Have been having a heat wave or are having a heat wave.
We are having.
We
لأنه
are
right now.
yes هلا في heat wave صح. Where did we go? Let me right now we are having. When I go and see a doctor this afternoon, I will ask him to take a look at my throat. I asked him. I will have asked him, or I ask him.
I will ask.
Very good. I will ask. I sent you the money almost a week ago, but I still hadn't received any confirmation, didn't receive any confirmation, haven't received any confirmation, I'm not receiving any confirmation.
Haven't received.
أيوة haven't received. By the way, حتى في the more colloquial option هذا ال haven't received. هلا haven't received it's a bit more
I am
proper,
not.
more prim. هلا more colloquial.
I am not receive. I didn't receive.
Didn't receive, it's a bit more casual. Hey, I sent you the money. I didn't get an answer yet. يعني هيك casual أكتر بصراحة بالحكي. After they won the race, the celebrations began. After they have won the race, celebrations began. After they win the race, celebrations began. After they had won the race, celebrations began.
Had one.
Had one وبرضه بزبط.
One
بهذا
لحالها.
الحال. I'm sorry.
One لحالها بدون have one.
أيوة برضه بزبط one. Our football team never wins a football match until last season. Our football team has never won a football match. Our football team had never won a football match. Our football team never won a football match.
حاسة الثالثة
had never
والرابعة
won.
بزبطوا.
Had never won.
بزبط had never won وبزبط برضه never won.
Never one. الثالثة والرابعة.
I had answered all the questions correctly since I began the course. I have been answering all the questions correctly since I began the course. I have answered all the questions correctly, or I answered all the questions correctly.
I have answered.
برضو answered.
أيوة وبرضه بزبط have been answering. والله حتى had answered it works here as well. I had answered all the questions correctly. I have been answering. I have answered. I answered. Yeah, they all just about work. It's against the law to kill whales. They have become extinct. Extinct يعني مقروضين زي حيوان.
انقرضوا حينقرضوا.
أيوة انقرضوا. هلا هم بيحكوا إنهم انقرضوا خلصوا لو قلنا have become. They become extinct, they became extinct, or they are becoming extinct.
They are becoming.
They are becoming.
أيوة عشان هم لسه ما انقرضوا بس يعني على الطريق
لسه
بالمعنى.
على الطريق فممنوع ينصادوا.
أيوة exactly. Jim, why don't you take some time off? You are working too hard lately. You were working too hard lately. You had been working too hard lately. You have been working too hard lately.
We're working.
You
هلا
are
were
working.
يعني خلص بطل إنه يتعب بهذا بطل يشتغل بهذا I've never really understood the exact translation for hard work in Arabic.
hard work اللي هو العمل الجاد يعني كتير يعني بتعب كتير بشغله.
Okay, thank you. يعني بطل يشتغل بهذه الطريقة الجاد إذا قلنا were. يعني بصفة ما في داعي ياخذ عطلة. أساسا أنا شايفة زميلي عم بيحرط حراط بشغله ممكن أجي أحكي له صار لك فترة عم تشتغل بشكل جاد ممكن أحسن لو تاخذ بريك أو تاخذ أوف صح؟
يعني هو قال تاخذ بريك. ايوه بالضبط لازم تريح لانك انت صار لك فتره تعبان بالشغل يعني بتشتغل بهارد وركينج.
أيوة يعني إيش ممكن نستعمل بهذا الحال؟
يا اما had been working او were working.
هلا were لا you would say have
ليش؟
been.
ما هو يعني كان بيشتغل كتير lately يعني من
أيوة
فتره.
lately إني
يعني ليش have
but
مش
usually
had.
okay usually in English have
ليش have مش had؟
عشان أظبط يعني sometimes when you just know what's right have been هو الصح. هلا I'll explain it more to you guys بالsentence بشكل عام. Jim, why don't you take some time off? ليش قلنا have been? You have been working too hard lately. بدنا ing. هلا هون عنا ing بس were بما انه past tense زي كأنه لغت لنا ing. بطل الاشي باستمرار. Okay. صارت إن إشي
تمام.
صارت وخلصت. بس in the past you were working hard. Now you're not maybe. هلا have been working هذا للاستمرار. لهلا Jim is still working hard. كلمة lately هلا إيش إنه بشكل عام هالأيام. lately مش شرط إشي خلصت. ممكن أجي أحكي I've been feeling sick lately مش قصدي إنه أنا كنت حاسة بمرضية وخلصت. لأنه أنا هذا الأيام والله حاسة حالي تعبانة مريضة. هذا الفترة.
يعني تمشي مع البريزنت أكتر lately.
اللي بمشي مع الإشي اللي باستمرار أكتر. So you would say have been working too hard lately. هلا are working could work ممكن يزبط. بس الأزبط have been because we're trying to include the past as well. بنحاول برضه ندخل الماضي إنه الماضي وهلا الاثنيناتهم الشغل. هلا had doesn't work here. Had been working it doesn't quite work. عادة إحنا we try to go for have been. وإحنا ولا مرة سوينا sentence correction مع بعض صح؟
No.
بس نصير ناخد sentence correction مع بعض بتصيروا تشوفوا المقصد ب have been إنه أغلب الجمل بيمشوا على have been أكتر من had been. Next month I have a week's vacation. I am planning on going on a trip to the Rockies. I have planned on going on a trip to the Rockies. I will plan. I will be planning.
I am planning.
أيوة I am planning.
لأنه will plan to لازم to go.
أيوة very good. Then the trip is next month. يعني مش بعيد. So أنا المفروض I've already planned my trip or I am currently planning it. هلا will be planning will plan يعني أنا لسه ما بلشت لسه ناوية. I'll be right with you as soon as I will find my keys, found my keys, find my keys, will have found my keys.
I find.
أيوة very good. I will be right with you as soon as I find my keys. Perfect. So let me stop sharing just for a quick second so I can switch between slides. هلا tenses رح ناخدهم more and more and more in the future. هلا مش شرط حتى يكون تحت مسمى tenses إنه practice بشكل عام رح يدخل في tenses. But for now, let's pull up our modal verbs. So what are modal verbs؟ حدا عنده فكرة إيش من المodal verbs؟ Yes, no.
يمكن قاعدة if so
مثل
if
هما كانوا قد شيلوا شوت
أيوة زي can, could,
شيل should
shall, should, will, would. These are
might to
all
must
modal verbs.
have to has to be going to
Very good.
صح؟
These are our modal verbs. صح.
Yep.
هلا modal verbs they show possibility يعني احتمال intent بالمعنى نية ability إمكانية or necessity يعني إلزام. They are type of auxiliary verb. هم بينشملوا مع ال helping verbs. هلا common examples of modal verbs include can, could, should, would, may, shall, will, might, and must. There are different uses of modal verbs. Some modal verbs are used to express a skill or an ability, including could, can, or be able to. هدول تحديدا if we're talking about expressing a skill, an ability، يعني بالمعنى الإمكانية على عمل الشيء. For example, the girl can dance very well. هلا إن model verbs تانيين they are used to express advice. تمام أنا بدي أنصح حدا. Or an obligation to do something. لما إشي يكون an obligation يعني إجباري ما في option تاني بدكم تعملوه يعني بدكم تعملوه. Examples include you must go to school. هلا when I say must هذا مو نصيحة. أنا زي إنه بلشت أفوت على territory الإجبارية يعني بلشت إنه لا هذا والله شبه إجباري. You must go to school. She should help her mom tidy up. هلا we use should when we're talking about advice. أنا عم بعطي نصيحة. أنا ما عم بأمر ولا عم بجبر. هو نصيحة. should للنصيحة. هلا modal verbs اللي بنستعملهم to show the possibility of something happening. احتمال إشي يصير نستعمل will, shall, might, may. هلا some modal verbs suggest permission to do something such as he may stay for tea. هلا may تحديدا بدي أفوت فيه من أكثر من ناحية. may بمشي على إنه تطلبوا إذن وبزبط إنه إيش تعطوا إذن وبزبط كمان كيف may إنه أنا بحكي إشي ممكن يصير ومش أكيد. For example, I may go to the mall later, for example. زي كأني قلت might بهذا الحال. May بهذا context زي كأنه كلمة might or maybe. I may go to the mall later. ممكن أروح على المول بعدين مش أكيد. هلأ ممكن كيف أغير الصيغة؟ May I go to the mall later. هيك صفى أنا شلون بعمل أنا بطلب إذن. May
باخد
I
إذن.
لما أنا I ask the question may I يعني أنا عم بطلب إذن. May I go to the mall later. ممكن كمان أعطي إذن. كيف أعطي الإذن؟ You may
You may go to.
go to the mall. هيك إحنا أعطينا الإذن. أوكي إذنك معك. You may go to the mall. هلأ may works for more than one thing. هلأ modal verbs give us more information on how our verb functions. تمام؟ Let's practice. هلأ لو أنا بدي أحكي على إمكانية ومش يعني let's say بنت بترقص أو بنت بتغني. إيش بدي أحكي؟ إيش الword اللي بدي أستعمله؟ We would say, for example, she can sing. Oops. Or she can dance, or whatever the talent is. إيش مكان الموهبة يعني. How about we pull up a practice sheet? I feel like it would be better. So just for a second, let's stop sharing. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's zoom in a teeny bit. هون we have our word bank اللي هو بيكون بالمعنى our choices, our options. We have can, can't, could, couldn't, didn't need to, must, mustn't, needn't. Mustn't, needn't, say must not, need not. You've got plenty of time. You blank hurry.
You must.
You must hurry. Hurry يعني يستعجل. we have plenty of time. If you have plenty of time لازم
you mustn't. You mustn't. Sorry.
أيوة بزبط هون mustn't وبزبط كمان
لا
إيش.
أنا فكرت، لا بس أنا فهمتها إنه أنت أخذت كتير وقت، يعني got plenty of time، يعني أخذت كتير وقت فلازم تستعجل.
No, when you have plenty of time زي كأني بحكي لك إنه عادي عنا وقت.
لا يعني you've got، يعني أنا أعطيتك كتير وقت فاستعجل، أنا هيك
No,
فهمتها.
when you have time يعني إيش إنه أنت بتملكي وقت، أنت مش مستعجلة، عندك وقت. When you have time. لما أجي أحكي لك we don't have any time left هيك لا إحنا مستعجلين، ما ضل وقت، لازم نستعجل. We don't have any time left. بزبط هون نحكي you mustn't hurry وبرضه بزبط نحكي you needn't hurry. Needn't say بالمعنى it's a bit old fashioned but it's like saying you don't need to.
حاجة.
mustn't زي كأنه أنا عم بعطي النصيحة بشكل إجباري، مش لازم تستعجل هيك بشدة. meanwhile needn't إنه زي كأني إيش بحكي ترى مو ضروري تستعجل بأريحية. You don't need to rush. You don't need to be in a hurry. You have plenty of time. There's a knock at the door. I'm expecting Paul. It blank be him.
It must be him.
أيوة must be him. أنا عارف إنه هو أصلا جاي عم بستناه دق الباب يعني أكيد هو بالمعنى it must be him. I can't get my phone to work. It blank be out of order.
What?
It I'm sorry.
ممكن could.
أنا فاهمة إيش قصدك بالكود. could ممكن البديل الأفضل might إنه أنا مش متأكدة، هيك قصدك صح؟ هلا could لما يكون في إمكانية على الإشي.
مم.
هلا might شوي أزبط، ممكن you could get away with could، بس ما أنا بدي أكد إنه لا والله تليفوني مكسور، فيش مجال، إيش بدي أحكي؟
يعني must.
أيوة it must be out of order.
مم. مم.
Blank I ask you a question. كان بس أزيدكم من الشعر بيت اللي دايما هو مش option هون، اللي دايما أزبط من كان may. I remember when I was younger, okay, and I was in school. أي حدا بده مثلا يطلع, they want to leave the classroom, let's say they want to go to the restroom or whatever. إيش دايما كنا نضطر نحكي؟ اللي بيسأل السؤال بصيغة can I, our English teacher wouldn't let us go. بحكي لا مش هيك السؤال. لما نسأل عشان كان you can go أمبلا عندك إمكانية تروحي، بس may I هو إنكم تطلبوا إذن. may I go يعني طلب إذن. for example لو قلنا can I ask you a question، هلا technically can I ask you a question زي إنه بتسألوا هل عندي الإمكانية أسألك سؤال؟ موجود الإمكانية. may I ask you a question أم تطلبوا إذن. هلا ما أتوقع حدا بدقق هذه الطريقة يعني ب colloquial speech. هلا colloquial speech الحكي اليومي مع الناس 99% من الوقت راح تسمعوا كان مش may. بس عشان انتوا بينكم بين حالكم تكونوا عارفين ايش الأصح. That was excellent work, but I blank do it without you.
couldn't
أيوة
do
couldn't.
it with
ما كان فيني أسوي هالشي بلاك. I couldn't. She blank be 35. She looks older than that.
بس قبل شو بتفرق couldn't عن can't؟ يعني أنا ما بقدر أعمله معك من غيرك.
هلا I could
can't.
not. It's هو أزبط زي كيف would و will إنه هم شبيهين بس أمرات في جمل أزبط would. بس you could مثلا couldn't we're maybe talking about past tense. Okay, I could not have done it without you, or I could not do it without you. Can't is a bit more present, you know. Could you get away with using can't